Welcome to the show. The big story. The federal government proposes 4.74 trillion naira and 2.05 trillion naira as recurrent and capital expenditures for 2020 appropriation bill. That's a big one coming at this time. That means one way or the other, working to get back to the January-December circle seems to be on the way. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation says the recent closure of Nigerian borders has led to a reduction in smuggling of petroleum products. Alibaba's chairman Jack Ma is due to step down from the e-commerce giant on Tuesday, marking the end of an era for the firm. On the show today, Nigeria's Commodities Exchange is in focus. How can government unlock the potentials of this critical industry? We seek answers from where it should actually come from. It's your business, Nigeria. Welcome to the show. The federal government has proposed 4.74 trillion naira and 2.05 trillion naira as recurrent and capital expenditures for 2020 appropriation bill. The Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed, disclosed this at the Public Consultative Forum on the Draft Medium-Term Expenditure Framework and Fiscal Strategy Paper 2020 to 2022. Mrs. Ahmed says oil production is pegged at 2.18 million barrels per day. Oil benchmark is set at $55 per barrel as against $60 in 2019. Exchange rate is retained at 305 naira to a dollar, while government expects inflation rate to remain at double digit of 10.08%. According to the minister, the gross domestic product GDP is expected to grow by 2.93%. The figure is below the economic recovery and growth plan's projections. Lagos and Ogun states recorded the highest number of internet subscription in the second quarter of 2019. Data from the National Bureau of Statistics shows that Bayelsa and Ebonyi states had the least numbers of subscribers in quarter one and quarter two of this year. According to the report, a total of 173.71 million and 174.04 million subscribers were active on voice as against 162.05 million in quarter four of 2018. The number represents 0.18% increase in voice subscriptions quarter on quarter. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation says the recent closure of Nigeria's borders has significantly led to a reduction in the smuggling of premium motor spirit, popularly known as petrol, out of the country. In a tweet, Mele Kyari, Group Managing Director of the NNPC, disclosed this earlier in the first half of the year. There were reports that smugglers took the commodity to as far as Ghana, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Cote d'Ivoire. This was largely due to the price disparity of petrol between Nigeria and the West African country. The corporation explained that while the pump price of petrol in Nigeria was 145 naira per litre, the cost in many other West African markets was about 350 naira per litre. The oil firm says it is working hard to close up that incentive. This is worrisome at a time we're doing more than 60 million litres on a daily basis, and what is coming in now is about half of that. So where's that money, the subsidy and all of that? Where's that been going to? That's going to be a topic for another day. Very importantly, the effects of border closure on the economy, smuggling, petroleum products, and also foodstuff. Let's move on. A commodity exchange connects buyers and sellers of physical commodities, a role that is particularly useful in enhancing market efficiency by helping to match supply and demand of commodities across time and geographic distances. The need for Nigeria to have a functional commodity exchange capable of attracting investors to agricultural value chain and enhancing job creation cannot be overemphasized. Many analysts say this would help support the non-oil sector, diversify the country's export base, and make the economy less vulnerable to external shocks. At present, only 2 commodity exchanges are registered by the Securities and Exchange Commission in Nigeria, whereas the privately owned AFX Commodities Exchange, registered in 2014, is running against all odds. The much older government-owned Nigerian Commodities Exchange is still struggling to find its feet due to, as a part of adequate funding and other issues militating. Well, let's hear more from the Deputy Head of Risk Management, Nigeria Commodity Exchange, Kingsley Emegara. Thank you very much for joining us, Kingsley, from our Abuja studios.
Thank you very much.
Kingsley, let's start first. How important is the Commodities Exchange to economic growth?
Yes, very, very important. The Commodity Exchange, within the context of economic growth, is expected to impact tremendously on the economy of the country. Now, to start with, Commodity Exchange has a capacity to sustain year-round production through its network of warehouses across the nation. So it discovered that the warehouses serve as centers for aggregation of these commodities, which most times serve as raw materials to processors.
Now let's look critically at this and how has the Commodity Exchange been helping promote the non-oil sector. Many believe that this should help us further ease the diversification agenda of this administration.
Yes, very true. The Commodity Exchange not only helps to sustain year-round production, it also has the capacity to generate employment by facilitating other businesses. Employment generation can arise as a result of the existence of a commodity exchange. Other businesses, other trade and business opportunities around the commodity exchange across the value chain will exist as a result of its existence. Now, the commodity exchange will provide avenues for other businesses like the warehouse operators will come on board, the assayers, commodity assayers will come on board, the logistic companies will have businesses to do, the insurance, the banks, all will be involved in the activity of a commodity exchange, which impacts, of course, directly on national economy.
Now, in terms of linking farmers to the international market, how much has been achieved?
Yes, in terms of linking farmers to international community, we discovered that we, as a commodity exchange, we try as much as possible to organize the farmers. Of course, you are aware that the Nigerian farmers have great proportion of them being in the category of smallholder farmers. Now, the smallholder farmers ordinarily, by virtue of the level of the activities, by virtue of their production capacity, may not be able to access the platform of the exchange. So what we usually do is to try to organize them in cooperatives and other farmer groups so that they will be able to access not only the domestic market, but also the international market.
Why does the exchange not seem to be doing as its counterparts? Let's look at Ethiopia, for example. We know how effective the commodity exchange has been doing and impacting on the economy.
Right. Now, if you look at the Ethiopian Commodity Exchange, usually most people refer to the Ethiopian Commodity Exchange as a model. Now, the Ethiopian Commodity Exchange was able to garner much progress. They were able to achieve much they have been able to achieve because they had government support. Government supported them in various ways. Yes, the Ethiopian Commodity Exchange not only had government support, the commodity exchange concept in Nigeria is very, very novel. You know, it's very novel. It's new to our environment. So people are not much aware about the existence of a commodity exchange and its importance. But that of the Ethiopia, because of the level of publicity they enjoyed, because of the level of support they enjoyed, people were able to key into the project. So that's what we expect in Nigeria. As a novel concept, we expect that government support should assist the exchange a great deal in ensuring that we function the way we should function.
Let's now look at major challenges. Of course, there are challenges in this part of the world, but specifically how it affects your day-to-day runnings.
Yes, our challenges are both institutional and infrastructural. Our infrastructural challenges are our inability to garner the required infrastructure, the required warehouses, which we require, the required things like trading platform, which we need, the trading engine to be able to function, the warehouses, and other logistics, which are very relevant to the commodity exchange operations. Over time, these have been lacking in the exchange, and that's why it has impacted negatively to some extent on the operations of the exchange. We also have institutional challenges, such as not being able to publicize, or not being able to not being able to ensure that people will key into the project, because, like I said earlier, it's a noble project, and much people have not been able to know so much of it. So we have that challenge of people not keying into it. That of Ethiopian challenge, that of Ethiopian Commodity Exchange, for instance, they were able to achieve much as they achieved because there was some kind of regulation to the marketing of some of the commodities that are traded on the exchange. But in the case of Nigeria, we don't have that kind of regulation here. So we are asking that that kind of regulation be extended to us, so that even if it's, as it relates to some specific commodities, let there be some kind of regulation with respect to the marketing of agro-commodities in Nigeria.
Well, I'm going to ask you again, that is like we're not taking the commodity exchanges too seriously in this part of the world. In direct terms, if we are to look at this vis-a-vis the stock exchange, why is this so?
Yes. We have not been able to take it seriously. My answer to that question is very simple. It's because Nigerians have a choice. They have an option to do with the commodity exchange or not to do with it. So if we have, like I was talking about regulation, if we have some kind of regulation, if we have some kind of mandation that specific commodities within the shore of the country be traded through the exchange, people will key in. It's because they have an option, they have a choice to either come there or not to come there. Unlike that, which happened to the Ethiopian Commodity Exchange, where both buyers and sellers of their commodity, their major commodity, coffee, are compelled to do that through the exchange. So if you have that kind of thing in Nigeria, people will key in.
Okay, now moving on now, it's getting so interesting. As the exchange, what are you doing to try to help yourself, to keep yourself really in business?
All right. Now, the Nigerian Commodity Exchange, we have for now renovated some of our warehouses, which we are leasing from the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. Some of them in their states at the time of lease, they are in such a state that we cannot put them to operational use as it is. So we had no choice than to put them to the shape and to the standard that is required. So currently, we have renovated about 6 or 7 of our warehouses located across the country to ensure that commodity aggregation is facilitated and brought close to the farmers. And in addition to that, we have also, of recent, taken delivery of our trading engine, the trading platform, our trading application. Is currently undergoing testing to ensure that it is effective and efficient, and that the robustness that is expected of it is there, so that it will serve the purpose for which it is configured.
All right, what kind of support will the exchange, will help the exchange live up to its objectives? Now, if you put all of this right, what kind of exchange would we see when all of this become functional?
Yes. The support we require of the government, we must say, before we talk about additional support, we must use the opportunity to tell Nigerians that the present administration has given the exchange tremendous support, which hitherto was not there. We have gotten a lot of support from this present administration, the Muhammadu Buhari administration. Yeah. But in addition to that, we will also expect more support, more of institutional support, in addition to funding, additional funding to enable us assemble these infrastructures that we require to function effectively. We require some support like the warehouse receipt bill to be assented by the president. We had, over the years, pursued this bill to its logical conclusion. But unfortunately, till today, the bill has not been assented to, even though it has been passed by the National Assembly. Yes, that reminds me, the day we had a public hearing on the establishment, for the bill for the establishment of the Chartered Institute of Commodity Brokers of Nigeria, CICBN, the legislators assured the exchange that they are going to give us very good support to ensure that the bill is passed, and that they consider such bill as an economic bill, and that they take it very seriously. And eventually they passed it. But up to today, it has not been assented. So we expect such support so as to enhance the operations of the exchange and enable us achieve our objectives. If the warehouse receipt bill is passed, it will encourage, it's going to facilitate commodity exchange operations and also ensure that the farmers get a maximum benefit that is expected of the platform.
All right, let's leave it at that for today. Now, Deputy Head, Risk Management Department, Nigerian Commodities Exchange, Kingsley Emegaha. Thank you very much for your time on Business Nigeria today. Well, let's take a break. And of course, we'll bring you more. Don't go away. Thank you for staying with us. My colleague, market editor, Effiong Gekop, is live now from the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange downtown Lagos to talk more on what's happening at the exchange today. Hello, Ekop. What is the big story? Dangote Olam, the deal, how far have we gone? What is playing out there? I see a smile on your face. Take it away.
I just managed to smile. It is not that very good on the trading floor. The company you mentioned, Dangote Cement, was a big loser, along with Nestle, and the two of them were able to drag down market indices. So we closed in the negative territory. Market was down by 1/4 percentage point, absolutely 0.16%. Nestle lost heavily by 56 naira in absolute terms, and that was nearly 5% loss, a very big one, on a given day for a big cap stock, that way. And so some other companies that also, were down included Dangote and the other, and then minor stocks, all over, including Continental Reinsurance. This is not the time for investors, to stay, longer in the market to look for, long-term profits. So they look for windows to, play short-term. So any little opportunity that prices, get up, they move in and instruct their brokers, to take profits on their behalf. And that's why we see market each day being depressed.
Depression seems to be worrisome. The insurance figures to earlier today looking good. Were they able to sustain that?
Well, insurance companies are featuring on the activity charts regularly because the sector is up and doing. But there is a snag to that. The regulators want them to recapitalize, get more money for business. And many of them are coming to the trading floor, to woo investors to buy into their stock, to, enable them to, get more working capital. But then the larger economy seems to not, support that, admission. And so many people don't play big, in the insurance market. Even many of them, come to the trading floor. Don't forget, we call insurance penny stocks because their prices are really very low and marginal, and what they even pay to investors, not always impressive. So all of this work against the financial subsector, including the banks.
All right, if you're Gekop, thank you very much there, bringing us up to speed with the trading pattern for the day, where the market is still on the negative side. Not too good. Well, before we go, let's tell you that Alibaba's chairman, Jack Ma, is due to step down from the e-commerce giant on Tuesday, marking the end of an era for the firm. Mr. Ma co-founded Alibaba in 1999, and it has become one of the world's biggest internet firms. Current Alibaba's chief executive, Daniel Zhang, will replace Jack Ma as executive chairman. The company is now valued at $480 billion. According to Forbes, Mr. Ma is China's richest man with a net worth of $38.6 billion. One international front, enterprises in Shu City, east of China's Jiangsu province, are taking measures to deal with the impact of the ongoing trade dispute between China and the United States. The local government is struggling to get through these difficult times. Among these two have been, those two have been shaken up by the trade tensions is the Shunrongwen Group, a manufacturer of lamps, who has exported various LED lamps to the United States since 1992. These exports to the U.S. occupy 80% of the group's sales volume. The chairman of Shunrongwen Group, Zhao Xping, says some of his U.S. clients wish he would move his factory to Southeast Asian countries, such as Vietnam, Cambodia, or India, to avoid the extra tariffs. Nissan's chief executive officer, Hiroto Sakawa, will step down next week as the car maker due to financial pay scandal. The announcement followed a meeting of the car maker's board on Monday. The 65-year-old had been accused of receiving hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of extra share option payments in 2013. Board chairman Yasushi Kimura says that Mr. Saikawa will quit on 16 September. Chief Operating Officer Isoro Yamauchi will take on the role of acting CEO. Crude oil prices continue to rise higher at the international markets. Early on Tuesday, at the London market, Brent crude sells for $62 per barrel, recording 0.34% increase in price. For the OPEC basket, crude dealers offer $60.75. That's per barrel, also up by 0.28%. West Texas Intermediate also traded at $58.09. All of this still above even the budget projection, which is even more moderate at this time, at $55 per barrel. That's our show. Let's continue this discussion tomorrow. We'll be here same time.